Welcome to Journey to Joy Live. I'm Dr. Enjoy, your host, where I discuss how you can enter the journey towards joy. Have you entered the journey yet? I sure hope so. If not, at least think about it and join me weekly so you can figure out how you can get to joy. Because joy is a great way to spend your life. Last week, I got into holiday stress because a lot of us can experience holiday stress, holiday blues. It's when we get into this season and for whatever reason, there's something that makes you feel overwhelmed or obstacles to your joy, making you feel more stressed and making it so that you cannot be happy or get things done. We talked about how finances can be a problem with holiday stress, time commitments being overcommitted, overworked, burned out, as well as different family dynamics that get in the way of feeling happiness during the holidays. So listen to that episode on Spotify, watch the episode. It's on Facebook as well as YouTube and Instagram. I upload the videos on all the other platforms when I'm done with this. So check it out if you're interested in learning more about holiday stress. But today we're going to be talking about seasonal affective disorder, also known as seasonal depression. It's not necessarily the seasonal blues. Sometimes you might feel the blues, you might feel low, you might feel kind of down, but it's not actually depression. Millions of Americans experience seasonal affective disorder, or better known as SAD, S-A-D, SAD. It can occur, there can be a winter-based seasonal affective disorder, and interestingly enough, there is a summer-based seasonal affective disorder. More people tend to experience the ones in winter. And that's mainly during that October through April or November through April, where it just gets so dark so quickly. I think we all kind of experience that winter blues or seasonal blues where daylight savings time happens. And that's every state except for Arizona. I meant to look up if the statistics in Arizona, because in Arizona, they don't have daylight savings time. So it stays lighter longer. So because of that, I wonder if their seasonal affective disorder rates are lower or their seasonal blues are lower. So that would be interesting. So I'm going to look that up after this. But anyhow, we get this daylight savings time that occurs in November, which feels good when you can set your clock back and get that extra hour of sleep. But as we all know, that means that we're losing daylight. We're saving it. What are we saving it for? Are we packing it up and putting it in a bag and opening it up later for the summer? I mean, it doesn't make it that if we save it during the winter that we'll have more of it for the summer. I think we would always have it, whether we change our clocks or not. But anyhow, we all know that it gets dark a lot earlier, around 5:30. I mean, I'm still out taking my toddler home from school and it's pitch dark. The great part about the holidays mixing in with this time is that at least we enjoy the beautiful lights of Christmas and the holidays since it's getting dark early. So you kind of make the most of it, like, ooh, look at the pretty lights. But anyhow, I think we can all understand and relate to the fact that having less sun and all this darkness within the majority of our day kind of puts us down. There's something about the summer heat and the sun that makes us feel better. And it's all connected. So what is seasonal affective disorder? I mentioned it's like seasonal depression. So it's actually more of a clinical diagnosis rather than I'm just feeling down. I just need to get some rest. It's more of a clinical diagnosis, depression, rather than a typical I'm just feeling down and I need some more rest or I'm just not myself. So when we talk about depression, when you have those symptoms around the winter, you can kind of predict that it's going to happen around these months, the winter months, because the daylight has changed, it's getting dark sooner, and you might notice more irritability, more lower energy. feeling more sad, longer periods of time, not sadness that lasts just an hour or two, but sadness lasting for a week, 2 weeks. Depressive episodes usually last up to a week, and you're sleeping more, or you're not able to sleep. You have sleep disturbance. You can't get to sleep, or you get to sleep, but you can't stay asleep. You just got disrupted sleep. Appetite issues, hopelessness, worthlessness, feeling like you can't do anything or that you're a burden to others. So feeling really, really low and down, depressed. So those are the symptoms that you might experience with seasonal affective disorder, and you might notice a pattern that you're experiencing it every winter. So that's also a sign. Social withdrawal, being withdrawn from your friends, preferring to be alone, not wanting to be around anybody, that's a sign. And a lot of times, depression can present itself as physical discomfort, body aches, headaches, stomach aches. Kids tend to experience depression when it comes to their body. They don't know how to express, I'm sad or I'm depressed, so they feel it through their bodies. That can happen with adults too. And the anxiety, worries, being more irritable. You might notice in a family member if they're more irritable or snapping or more angry. It's like, what's wrong with them? And then you don't want to be around them, but they could be experiencing a depression. They could be experiencing a seasonal depression. So it's really good to know those signs so that you can look out for them and pretty much help them or help yourself and get some help. So why do we get seasonal affective disorder? Why do we get it? Well, I alluded to it earlier. It's something about that sun that makes us feel good. For one, we get vitamin D from sun. So the less exposure to sun, the less vitamin D. When vitamin D is low, you experience irritability, you experience depressive symptoms, and you experience feeling really down, low energy, wanting to sleep all the time. So that can happen just by low vitamin D in general. So if for whatever reason you have a vitamin D deficiency all year round because your body's not absorbing it well or producing it well, or you're missing some vitamins, then you can have those symptoms anyway. But it's directly connected with the sun. Your body produces more vitamin D when you're exposed to the sun. So when you're not getting a lot of it, or you don't focus on making sure you get a lot of it, then that can definitely lead to seasonal affective disorder, because there's not enough sun in the winter. There's more sun in places, well, like where I live. I mean, there was a lot of sun, but it still get dark around 5, just like it gets dark around 5 in New York. So it's still the same. There is another chemical involved in our brains called serotonin. Serotonin helps us feel better. It helps us not feel depressed, not feel anxious, and it helps us with sleep. It also helps us not be so aggressive. So when those levels are low, we find ourselves experiencing depression, experiencing anxiety, sleeping issues, and aggression. Serotonin. Serotonin is a medication that's targeted by most antidepressants. If you really look up what an antidepressant is, it's an SSRI, which means it's a serotonin reuptake inhibitor. All that means is that the medication makes it so that we release more serotonin in our brains. So if we have more serotonin in our brains, then we feel better. It treats depression, it treats anxiety, it helps you sleep. What research has shown is that with seasonal affective disorder, serotonin is less during those winter months. And guess what helps us produce serotonin? Vitamin D. So low vitamin D in general can cause depressive symptoms and irritability, and it also can cause those symptoms because you're producing less serotonin around the winter months. Melatonin happens to rhyme with serotonin. It's not the same thing, but that helps us with sleep. If we have a good sleep-wake cycle, we know we're producing more melatonin at night, and it lowers in the morning so that we're able to wake up. You may have heard of melatonin because it's over the counter, and some people take it to help them with sleep. So that's a good substance for sleep, but also having low melatonin can cause seasonal affective disorder. So if you have low melatonin, low serotonin, low vitamin D, not getting enough sun, that's a nice recipe for seasonal affective disorder. You don't want it, but at least you know it can be prevented and you can also predict that it's going to happen. Start to look at signs of that in yourself and realize, well, wait a minute. Why am I so irritable? Why am I so sad? I'm not myself. I'm so feeling so tired. I'm having trouble going to work. I'm having trouble with my relationships. And why is it always in December and January? Of course, we talk about losses and different stressors. Maybe the holidays is a stressor in general, or the winter is a stressor in general because you might have lost someone. So it may be something like that, or some type of trauma that you might have experienced in the past. It may be because of that. So it could be a lot of different reasons why you feel more stressed or more depressed in the winter. It may not just be that, but since we're talking about seasonal affective disorder, that's obviously something that you want to look out for and try to combat it. So it's definitely easily treatable. How can we treat it? You can treat it by getting as much sun as possible. So was it this weekend? Yeah, this weekend it was super dreary and just like rainy and ooh. But then Monday it was super sunny. So as much as you can get some sun, get out there and get it when the sun comes out. Well, what if it's cloudy the whole time? It's just not a lot of sun coming out. You can get light therapy. So the way to treat seasonal affective disorder is talk therapy, light therapy, vitamin D, and medication if you need it. Vitamin D is a supplement, it's a vitamin. But light therapy is not a medication. So if you don't want to go the medication route, there are definitely alternatives that you can use. Light therapy is a special light. It has to be 10,000 luxes or lux, Lux. And you can get the light from Amazon. You can Google light therapy for SAD and it'll pop up. It's a matter of putting yourself under that light every morning. Of course, you want it in the morning because you want to kickstart your day. You don't want to do it at night. You're about to go to sleep. So it stimulates you. And you want to be under that light somewhere between 20 and 45 minutes every day. See, that's the first strategy. Especially if you're not able to get natural sunlight, you want to get under the light and have light therapy. As far as the vitamin D, making sure you're taking your daily vitamins and getting that vitamin D. Every daily vitamin has about 1,000 international units of vitamin D. So keeping in that vitamin D in your body is important. Also, see your doctor. Get some labs done. What if you're one of those people that actually have a vitamin D deficiency? Vitamin D should be at 30. If you have 29, you have a vitamin D deficiency. If you have 20, that's way lower, right? If you have 10, that's severe vitamin D deficiency. So you want to replace that. And it's not just with a multivitamin. It's going to be some vitamin D supplements. I recommend, depending on the number, to my patients taking 5,000 international units every day when they have a low vitamin D. But there's also prescriptions that can be prescribed where you could take 50,000 international units of vitamin D weekly, and you'll check that vitamin D level in a few months. But make sure you're going to your primary care doctor, general practitioner, pediatrician, family doctor, internal medicine doctor, whoever it is. They will check your lab levels, your vitamin D levels, and get you a prescription if you need it, and if vitamin D taken over the counter isn't enough. So get on top of that. Speaking of which, other labs that we check when we check labs are the thyroid. Low thyroid can cause irritability and depression and fatigue too. So if you're over here thinking you're depressed, it could really be related to something going on in your body, vitamin D deficiency, low thyroid, or something else going on. Medical problems can cause mental health issues. Ooh, that's a good segment for another day. Yeah, that'd be good. If the light therapy doesn't seem to work, it's not enough sun for you, you've tried all the vitamin D replacements, making sure you have structure in general. Going to bed at a regular time, make sure you get enough rest. Sometimes it's hard to do that, but as best as you can, having a regular schedule with some structure can help with seasonal affective disorder and focusing on eating healthy meals. That's always in my self-care talks when I talk about what you can do to experience joy, self-care. So having a regular bedtime and getting some rest and eating healthy, that can also help seasonal affective disorder. Making your environment as bright as you can. So if you have the light therapy, have the sun coming through the window. A lot of times, like more often than not, when I meet with my patients virtually, they'll be in a dark room. The blinds are closed. I can barely see them. I'm like, get some light. And a lot of people don't really go outside these days. So get outside. Make your environment bright. Go for a walk, take lunch outside, go to a park or something. Even if you're in the car, at least the sun is shining through the windows. Take some breaks. I mentioned before that when I see patients, in between patients, I'll go outside and get some sun because that's important and it's a good break in your day. 10 seconds of sun makes you a better doctor, a better teacher, better construction worker, whatever you are. Well, if you're a construction worker, you're probably outside getting enough sun. So maybe that's not a good. But if you work inside a lot, it's definitely important to get outside and get some sun. And staying social and connecting with people. Social connection, as we know, is really good for growth and it's really good for experiencing joy and avoiding being socially isolated. One of the symptoms I said earlier for seasonal affective disorder is feeling lonely, withdrawn, and isolating yourself. If you succumb to that feeling and continue to withdraw and just block everybody out, that's a recipe of continuing to experience that depression. So trying to push yourself to get out there, one of the types of therapy strategies is behavioral activation, which is really creating a list of tasks to do every day, a list of activities to do every day so that you are forced to do something that day. So if you're someone that's not working, you're retired or on vacation or whatever it is, you're not working, try to create some tasks for you to do that day or each day so that you're getting out of the house and doing something. If you're going to get out the house, go get the mail, your mailbox. Most people's mailboxes are far away from where they got to walk outside, whether it's right there at the street or if you're in an apartment and you have to walk outside, walk a few minutes to get your mail. Do that every day. Get your mail. Don't let the mail just sit there for a few weeks. And then you have your daughter go and get it for you. Get outside as much as possible. That helps. Another way to help with seasonal affective disorder that's not having to choose a medication, exercise. I hope y'all saw my reel the other day. I was out running and oh my God, that running is therapy for me. I absolutely love it. And the sun had finally came out. I just go in my zone. And you know what? I don't even care who's watching me. I'll start to singing. I'll be looking at cars like, hey, they're looking at me like, or sometimes they be like, okay. And they be beeping the horn. I'm like, all right. So anyway, when I'm running, I don't care who's watching me. I sing, I dance if I have to wait at a stoplight. And that's me. It's my me time. That's my self-care. Do your self-care, your exercise unapologetically, right? Get that done. Exercise regularly. Create a routine because that helps relieve stress and it helps relieve feeling down and anxiety. And that just gets those neurotransmitters going. That's what serotonin is. I mentioned serotonin earlier. It's a neurotransmitter. And at the end of the day, if exercise doesn't help, simply socializing, getting outside, getting vitamin D, creating structure and trying to make your environment as bright as possible. If it doesn't help, it's okay to seek help. That's what these Journey to Joys are all about. Having you understand that it's okay to seek help. I try to be as transparent as possible about what I experience because I'm human. And if you need to seek help, it's okay. It's okay to not be okay. That's why I'm in my field, because there's a lot of people that aren't okay. And so I'm here to help you. In fact, my practice is open for patients. Check out my website, www.drenjoylife.com. I'm not accepting insurance yet. If not, I can help you find where you can go to find a therapist. Therapyforblackgirls.com, Psychology Today, those are good places to find a therapist. Or you can use your insurance, log into your insurance, find somebody that's in network for you. Yeah, most people want to use their insurance anyway, which I don't blame you. And it could be that you just need therapy. You want to talk through what's going on, or you need to talk through what's going on, and they can help you figure out what it is you can do based on your personal situation. That's what therapy is about, whether you need to process trauma, process losses or grief or stress. Oh, what if you're too sad to exercise? I have a question here. We were talking about exercise. What if you're too sad to exercise? I really, really love that question because I notice that majority of the times that I'm exercising, there's something that I have to combat in order to exercise. Most people, when they need to exercise, they don't feel like it. I mean, that's one level of what you need to combat in order to exercise is that I don't feel like it, but somehow you get over it. I've exercised with a headache. I've exercised when I was very fatigued. I definitely exercised when I was sad, and I definitely exercised when I was stressed, overwhelmed, and anxious. I'm at the point where I know that exercising helps my anxiety and helps me feeling sad. So it's a matter of you telling yourself, exercise is going to help me. I need to do this, and doing it. The other day, I was so tired, but I said, you know what? And I have to sign up for races. That's why I'm doing so many races. I have to sign up for a race to get myself to be motivated to run or to work out. So I says, you know what? I'm really tired and I probably should go to sleep, but I also have this race coming up and I probably should run. So there's some level of motivation. Sometimes the motivation is just simply showing up, putting on your workout clothes and just being on that treadmill. And you're going to tell yourself, you know what? I'm not going to run. I'm just going to walk. I'm not going to do this. But then you hear that music going and then you start to feel good. And you're like, oh man, I wasn't even going to do this for real. And now I'm actually doing it for real. The question of what if I'm too sad to exercise? You're never too sad to exercise. It's a matter of reframing your mind and saying, I can do this. I will do this and I'll get through it and you will feel better afterwards. As long as your body is capable of doing it, right? Like if you have chronic back pain or some type of medical issue where you can't exercise, it's different. Find that exercise for you. We talked about yoga and swimming. So whatever it is for you, try to find that exercise. Some people don't like cardio and they do weights or strength training. That's good too, because that gets your endorphins going as well. That is a great question. I hope that answered it. But a lot of times we just have to get over that. It's like a mind over matter. We feel a certain way, but we have to tell ourselves, we have to talk ourselves out of it, think ourselves out of it to get ourselves to do that thing, especially exercise. It's with a lot of things in life where we have to literally mentally commit. All right. So where I was at was saying, you might have to seek professional help. And at the end of the day, if you need to take medication for your seasonal depression and you need to be on it for maybe the few months that you experience it, that's okay too. It usually takes about 4 to 6 weeks for an antidepressant to kick in. And seasonal depression can last for about 4 or 5 months. So being on one 4 to 5 months out of the year, they're easy to get off of. And if you need to take it, have it every year, that's fine. But that's also what therapy is for, where you learn the strategies that you need to be able to combat the stress, the depression, the anxiety, so that you won't need a medication or that you can get off of a medication. Just because you're on a medication or it was needed in that phase of your life doesn't mean you need to be on medication for the rest of your life. So I basically went through everything that I wanted to go through today. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned a lot about seasonal affective disorder. Share the video, like, subscribe, follow, do all those things. We're just trying to get the voice out there that you can choose joy, you can experience joy, join the journey, and enjoy life. Thank you.